one wallet to get 2,000 Zen in a 100-day stake, are you still going to look back and say, wow, remember when I could have minted one wallet and got 60,000 Zen and I said it was overpriced? You know what I mean? Like, over time, Zen's going to become less easy to get.
You can compare it slightly similar to Bitcoin. You could mine 50 Bitcoin, but today you can't.
The creator could burns later or build on top of it. The community could also build contracts on top of it, burn it. And there's infinite amounts of ways to reduce the inflation, but it's all community driven. And you have the opportunity to become Satoshi. So why FUD it?
Well, in the beginning of Bitcoin, people were mining on their computer and getting like 50 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin each block. So that was a lot back then. It's kind of the same theory. It's just like reversed. But yeah, it's a long-term game. And if we have 50 million users, we'd be a top 3 crypto project, and just apply that math there. The more users, the more devs want to be involved, the more use case, you can see the beginning of this like theory working perfectly, which I'm like astonished by. And it's all starting to make a lot more sense to me of what his kind of vision was to undermine traditional coin launches by just making it free. Everyone's on it. I mean, holy shit, it's insane. And it's only going to compound and compound. I mean, we all want this to do well. And I mean, I spent like $150 on gas, which is not a lot. I mean, I've put a lot more money elsewhere, so, but I want my bags to do well, and everyone else who owns this thing, like, see, imagine 50 million holders wanting their coin to do well. It's going to do well,
If we have 50 million people in the community and 40% of those people are staking, I think that's going to resolve a lot of the issues that people are having around value production, generating value. And also, you have to consider, if in the early days people are dumping and the prices are low, that's what we want them to do anyway, right? So if people realize that you get the maximum value from staking, and a mass majority of the people are staking, or a big portion of the people are staking, I'm saying at least 40%, then that is going to affect the price positively in ways that we can already kind of reference in the case of Hex.
I truly feel like the decreasing return over time is not being appreciated. For instance, right now, staking. So if you did a 10-day wallet, you're getting about 500,000. Let's just use that as a base. So 500,000, if I stake that 500,000 on a 20% annual basis, I'm only getting 100,000. But for the same amount of money I could have used, I could have staked a year-long staking, and instead of 500,000 turning into 600,000 in a year, I could have just captured 6 million on a staking today. The reason that disparity exists, and I feel like this is where the equation is going, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that disparity exists because we have not hit really the peak of the logarithmic function where the diminishing returns justify the staking. So everyone's kind of looking at today and saying, oh, this is a lot of money for that amount of stuff, but in the future, you won't be able to mint that amount of stuff. Like, that amount of stuff is not possible. It's diminishing returns over time, and even from yesterday and today, the amount of a 1-day staking is way less from yesterday compared to today. So I think this community might be saying a different tune as far as like what's worth it and what's not, because you want to try to get ahead of that. If I stake today, I have to wait 10 days to get it if I want a 10-day stake. So
when was the best time to get into Bitcoin? It was when the inflation was the highest, when nobody knew about it. If you're here right now, it's called opportunity. I mean, it's up to you to view it that way, but that's the way I view it.
Exactly, yes.
If everybody's just minting and dumping, and nobody's even have no incentive by buying this token, because the whole perspective is by token going down and down because people are just minting.
Can I give you an example of why this could be maybe not true?
What if everyone sold Bitcoin? Bitcoin would go to zero. What if everybody sold? I don't see a reason why people would buy Bitcoin if everyone's selling it. I mean, you can use the same argument with any coin. What if everybody's selling Loon C and nobody's buying? Loon C will go to zero. You can use that argument with anything. What if everybody's selling a potato and nobody wants to buy the potato?
Where's the demand? The demand is the buyer. There is no demand.
What are you talking about? Have you seen the price?
I'll just say this. What you guys are talking right now, this is the same conversation that was going on around Big Payday, the months and the days leading into Big Payday. This is the same exact conversation that was being had. And what happened? Hex went on a 10,000x run because people used the coin how it was supposed to be used. And only 10%, by the way, in Hex. If you are staking your coin, your Zen coin, let's just say 500 days. Why are you concerned about somebody 1 week, 2 weeks in who's dumping, right?
That conversation of short term versus long term. You're having two different conversations here. Short term, you can have that argument about why it doesn't make sense to hold longer. If you're going long term, it absolutely does make sense, and it doesn't matter about the quick short term gain or no gain.
The deflationary aspect gives us early adopters the advantage, but in the future, this won't exist anymore. We're getting this advantage just because we're early.
People didn't
Yeah,
understand Google when it launched. They felt that Lycos and Yahoo search and all these other searches were good enough. You just have to open your mind up. What Jack has done is made it in your favor for this thing to gain mass adoption. He hasn't taken a dev wallet. He hasn't taken a 40% cut or 10% cut or 5% or 1%. I'm sure nobody would even criticize him if he'd done that, but he's made it fair for everybody, for it to be in everybody's interest to make this long term and make it gain mass adoption.
and
It's
that's
up to
the
you.
formula.
And that's the
That's
beauty.
part of the
That's
formula,
the beauty of
right?
the project. And that's the beauty of the project, for the fact that there is no advantage. Everybody starts from scratch.
Whoever's having questions about the immediate value of the overall project, I don't know of one single project of any value that's just come off and immediately had all this massive value, right? So, and especially based on this particular protocol, as people have been articulating, the object is long-term gain. So that means you have to sacrifice the short-term, immediate term, depending on how you want to play the game. But if you are to maximize your investment in this particular protocol, there's a formula for it already. So if you maximize your mint, grab that, and then you stake it, maximize your stake. According to the game theory, this is when you will see your maximum gain and maximum potential out of your investment.
Just to add to that, guys, definitely consider the EAA is dropping by 0.1% every time 100,000 is reached. So that disinflationary aspect is gonna come, especially when that number isn't going down, because no one is getting a like a bonus anymore, and that AMP is going down each and every day as well. So eventually, it's gonna be inflationary, but it's gonna be harder to get lots of tokens. So just because we're early right now, we are getting that full throttle.
Exactly. Just because you can mint 60,000 tokens today doesn't mean you'll be able to mint them tomorrow. Everyone's looking at yesterday's mint as today's indicator, and that's going to be kind of in my opinion, kind of the theme of this whole token. Everyone's going to be viewing yesterday's mint for today's price, and you just can't look at it like that.
This also reminds me of Bitcoin.
No, it doesn't remind me of Bitcoin. You know why? Because Bitcoin, when it launched and in the first couple of years, didn't have a Uniswap version 3 where you can single-sided stake liquidity. Now, you're interested in making profits, go provide liquidity on version 3. Not only do you get profit off your mints, but you make the fee. So that is the most important innovation that the crypto space has contributed to humanity so far, is the ability for you to trade without a middleman, trustlessly.
I was referring to when you mine Bitcoin. You understand? You're able to mine like 50. Because someone mentioned that because you can mint 60 today, that doesn't mean you can mint 60 in the future. I'm referring to the difficulty.
And what's the value going to be then when people are able to only mint, let's say, 4,000 or 5,000 a day versus someone that's been staking and also minted for, like, let's say 365 days? The value is going to go up because the demand is going to go up as well.
Exactly.